Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today I'm going to be talking about how I've already gotten mastered this season. You can see we're currently master 7 marks. If we look at our current win rate as well, we're only solo queues, 61.9% win rate with a 7 KDA, 898 GPM, participating in most of the team fights, really good damage. And we can look at our champion stats as well. You can see Corki, Echo, and Oriana, really good games. Obviously, Kasten, like I was kind of saying, was not working out super well, so that's why we kind of dropped Kasten for the most part. Stuck to those 3 champions, and you can see my autofill champions: Warwick, Wukong, and then Thresh. We lost the Thresh game. We've been winning a lot with Wukong and Warwick. So overall, I just kind of want to show you guys, the game that got me master. Show you guys how we've won 15 of our last 16 games that I've played. You can just see all of these wins, just constant carries and wins in a bunch of games. And so we're going to get into the game that got me master. So let's get right into it. Okay, so as always, guys, starting off with draft, the main reason that we lock in Corki here is because we have multiple AP champions, and the enemy also have a tanky champion in Volibear, and I like playing Corki into tanks a lot because of the true damage. And then the Twisted Fate matchup is fine if I take Cleanse, so I'm also perfectly fine with that for those reasons. So for all of those reasons, we go for the Corki in this game. So for this game, again, we're going to talk a little more generally about kind of what's led me to get master, this so quick in the season with such a high win rate. And then we'll go into some of the specifics as well about my details in terms of the lane phase, in terms of just how we won this specific game and everything like that. But generally, a lot of things do relate to mental, as they kind of always do. And then this season, I've also had a really good focus on kind of specific mechanics, like getting better at my team fighting, at my keeping track of certain spells. And so I've really had a hard focus on that. Whereas previous seasons, I've been very, very macro focused. I feel like I've gotten a lot better in terms of mechanics this season, keeping track of spells more specifically in my mind, and just kind of that type of thing. So here, I'm okay with trading really hard on Twisted Fate level 1. Corki generally wins most level 1s. I even make him use his exhaust, and we still get fine trades onto him, even after exhaust. So we're both really low, but he has no exhaust, and I still have my cleanse. So I overall win that trade with him, and I can generally win the all-ins. He tries to go all in on me here, even though he doesn't have the damage for it, and nearly dies to it. One more minion shot, he probably would have died. As you can see, he's just extremely aggressive early. And so I realize now he's going to get level 2. I need to kind of wait until I get level 2 before trying to trade with him. But again, because of that spell advantage, if I can find an angle to trade on him, I'm going to be happy to do so, especially with my fruit now and everything like that. So if he walks up too aggressive or does anything silly, then we're just going to take advantage of that. But otherwise, we'll just play pretty safe in the lane. We have the wave in a good spot. He kind of has to walk up for this last hit, so I'm trying to bait him to walk up. But I'm just going to end up taking the recall just because of the fact that I'm so low, I'd rather get back to lane. And then if he overextends here while he's, still in lane as I'm coming back, I'll be in a really good spot because I got my recall off and I still get back to the lane in time. Whereas he's stuck here, as you can see, not able to clear these minions, and then I'm able to freeze on him. So because I took that recall when the wave was in a good spot, he gets completely screwed over. He loses a cannon. He's about to lose another minion. And then he tries to trade with me for some reason, even though he's just going to lose the trade, as you can see here. And so I pretty much just have my wave in a really good spot. This is something I've been doing very frequently with Corki. I think I'm on an 11-game Corki win streak right now. And that's pretty much just playing really hard for lane with, if the enemy do recall early, or you get the health advantage and you have your wave in a spot like this, you just take the freeze. Pretty straightforward, right? You just make sure you have the wave in this type of spot. And then eventually you build up a slow push, like you can see with this next wave coming, where now I have another wave coming. After I let that cannon die, I start to push a bit harder so that the enemy can't just, roam for free and get free prio. And then I'll try to kind of trade with them more aggressively. Now here I'm a little more scared because he does have his gold card, and so I'm just trying to wait to last hit. But generally I want to start pushing a bit more aggressive with the wave once I build up, that bigger wave, as you can kind of see. And so I'm sort of going to look for a trade angle here, and because I'm level 4, or I'm level 5 and he's level 4, I'm going to trade really hard. And you can see, since he trades really hard, I cleanse onto his, his gold card, and I'm just able to win the trade because I know he has no flash from earlier. And again, since I'm up a level, I'm pretty much just able to win the trade. So because of those freezes that I did, because of denying him gold and minions, he lost a lot of XP, which meant I had the level diff, and through that level diff, I was able to kill him. Pretty straightforward. I don't really know what he was doing as well. He's kind of inting. But despite that, a couple of my teammates have died, so it's still looking rough. Overall, I'm really strong, but a lot of the team is not as strong. And then Twisted Fate ends up rotating and ulting, so I push the wave really quick, and then I immediately pressure the turret. So even though he rotated and got a kill, he's going to lose out on more because I push turrets really fast. I'm going to get a turret plate. He's going to lose multiple minions. And then notice how I know he's going to come back to lane, and so I'm going to pressure him really hard. I'm standing in a place where as soon as he walks up, I can trade with him really hard, as you see here, and hard win the trade. So every time that the enemy makes that rotation as well, and you know they're coming back after the rotation ended, you can always kind of take advantage of that trade, as you saw there, where the enemy have to walk back into you, you just zone them off, and then if they just walk through you like that, they'll just easily, you know, die. And then for some reason, he just decided to walk up and die to me. And a lot of that, again, is due to the fact that I'm level 7 versus him level 6, so I'm stronger than him. I'm playing for my own gold, my own lane state, so I'm kind of in an advantage there. And then I have the wave pushing. And again, we got that chunk onto him earlier when he walked in, so it was just very hard for him to do much. We get another plate, and then we take the recall. And so overall, I'm very, very strong. Again, team not doing well right now. My team is 1-4 as a team, but I am 2-0. So because of that, I have a really big gold lead. I'm mostly playing around that. I'm going to go to lane. I'm going to push right away and recall because I have Essence Reaver. And now I have boots plus Essence Reaver before first dragon. This is an incredibly large power spike if you get it this early. And so I know if I go to mid, push out mid, and then rotate, try to help my team, if a fight happens, I'm probably going to be in a good spot. If no fight happens, then I'll just continue pushing and playing for my own lead and continuing to focus on farm and kind of play for that late game in general, which is kind of what ends up happening. We see the trade of objectives, and so I just push the wave, focus on lane prio, and I continue to hit the turret because, again, my true damage onto turrets means that I can get plates very, very quickly, where I've already gotten 4 plates on this lane. Just playing for that, that's just 600 gold just from plates. Seraphine misses a free ultimate because, you know, why not? But still, overall, we're in a very good spot. We're kind of pressuring the Senna again as well. Trying to drop the turret aggro, and then again, just pressuring this turret constantly, so getting as much as I can off that turret. I have cleanse if Twisted Fate were to gold card me. He didn't actually use gold card, so I cleansed what I didn't need to because he had a red card. But again, pretty straightforward here. You can just see we just play for that lane dominance. We use a lot of the tips in laning that I've given you guys, and through all of that, we're just able to get a big advantage. And whenever the enemy roams, we push the wave really quickly, pressure the turret, and all of a sudden their turret's, you know, 1 HP. Very, very low, and we're able to do that in most games. And even though we didn't get the ensemble, we still got the mid lane turret that low. So usually when you get ensemble, you're definitely able to get first turret. Now in this case, I try to stop the first turret by walking up and just pressuring really hard, but the enemy do get a lot of the turret, but we're still able to prevent it. And then here again, I can shred Volibear anytime that he's walking for it at all. Like you can see, even relatively early game, my damage on this Volibear is extremely high. We go under the Twisted Fate afterwards, and we get the kill on him as well. And then we're just able to get first turret. So again, it's a very straightforward process that we're following in these games, which really is just, again, playing for that lane phase, playing kind of selfishly, making sure I get my own power spikes. Because if I hit 3 items on Corki, if I hit 3 items on Orianna, I'm going to be very strong. And then when it comes to my other champion of Echo, that's a bit more of a push and roam champion. I'm still going to play pretty selfish, but I'm going to play a little more for my laners with that champion, right? So it does depend on the champion, but for Corki and Orianna, item spikes are pretty much all I'm worried about. If I'm hitting 3 items, I don't really care if my team is playing really bad. If I play mechanically well, which again, we've talked a lot in these last couple of videos about mechanics. If I play mechanically super well, I'm not really going to be too worried about the fact that, you know, my teammates are behind or anything, because I'm going to have that damage. Because again, Corki's OP, Ezreal's OP, I mean, not Ezreal, I don't know why I said Ezreal, I said Ezreal ult, that's what I meant. Orianna. Corki's OP, Orianna is OP. And so because of these champions being so broken, you hit those certain item spikes and that's all you need. Like at this point, I was trying to get that top lane wave, but Ezreal's going, so I decided I'm just going to get mid wave, get my Solaris, recall for Solaris. It looks like actually something happened here. I don't remember what fight. I think, yeah, Wukong just kind of dives me, and then they just all dive me. Yeah, there's like 9 people diving me here, so I didn't expect a Wukong plus a Volibear plus a Twisted Fate ultimate and all that. So we end up kind of getting pressured pretty hard, but still able to get a lot of damage back on them when they do go really far. You see we end up getting the Wukong and then killing the Volibear afterwards. So because of the fact that we're so fed, as long as we're able to escape, which we had our flash and our cleanse and kind of those defensive spells, when the enemy dive in and use their main spells to go in, you can see how much damage I can get back on them. Even though I was really low, you kind of saw how I was still trading with them pretty aggressively. And that's because they used pretty much everything on me, and obviously my teammates CC'd them once they went in on me, so kind of pretty straightforward to get a lot of burst damage. And you can just see again the burst damage, like even though my team is not playing well this game at all, like again, this is a type of game where a lot of you guys would be playing and you'd be like, my teammates really sucked, that was unwinnable. And a lot of times it is unwinnable. But you can see how if you're playing super, you know, effectively in lane, you're getting those advantages. Sometimes you can squeeze out really big leads in lane, even when your team is not doing great. Obviously, if my teammates were like AFK or running it down on purpose, we would lose, don't get me wrong. But you can see how this selfish playstyle means that I'm always in a position to carry in most games, even when my team is not having a good early game, because again, most of the plays have been, you know, around my lane. That's where most of the leads come from. Most of the other lanes not super strong, and so now we're just kind of playing around that, pushing our lead to other lanes, pushing out mid, and then rotating to a side lane to try to play around that turret. It's a really important timer to notice that I tried to make this play about 20 seconds before an objective was spawning, because we had a bit of a timer before we actually needed to. Here I go too aggressive and I die. That was greedy by me, so I shouldn't have done that. But you can see how we kind of made that play about, you know, 15-20 seconds before the objective spawned, because a lot of times the enemy are going to be distracted by the objective, and then you're going to be able to get some value out of that play. But I overextended going on the Lucian, and then I died. So not a great choice by me, but Rumble's kind of getting some good damage. Honestly, Rumble is kind of an OP champion. Like, this champion's kind of insane. His damage is just nuts. And then my Nunu's just on the objective. So shout out to Nunu for getting the objective for free. As we were on that side lane, if we were a lot stronger right now as a team, I would have just instantly contested that objective. But because I was mostly the one who's strong, that's why I prioritized getting that kind of turret, you know, out of it instead, and sort of looking more for that. So it's kind of important understanding, like, what your priorities are based on, you know, how strong your team is versus, you know, if they're not as strong, right? Like, if they're not as strong, you're not really going to want to necessarily fight right away. If they are really strong, you can obviously be a bit more like aggressive and a bit more eager to fight, that type of thing. But at this point, we're just kind of, you know, in a pretty straightforward spot. Again, you can see into a lot of these melee champions I really like playing, because you can just see anytime that they use their main engage, I'm just able to basically run them down afterwards, and you can just see the amount of burst damage that I have onto them. Overall, like, it's pretty nutty, this damage. Again, we can see absolutely one-shotting pretty much anyone who goes on me. So that's why, as Corki compared to a champion like Orianna, I definitely like playing Corki more into these really aggressive comps, because you can just completely, you know, melt them. Like, any tanks you completely melt through with your true damage. Absolutely insane burst damage. And that's why I've won literally 11 Corki games in a row, which is my longest win streak on a champion this season. Again, I've won 15 on my last 16 games, so, like, I've been winning a lot. I'm expecting a loss streak soon, you know. That's usually how it feels. You get some good luck, then you get some bad luck afterwards. I had some bad luck to start the season. I think we were like 48% win rate after 20 or 30 games. Now we're like, yeah, 85 games you saw in the intro, and 61.9% win rate. So just letting you guys know as well, like, you never, you know, the start of the season doesn't mean that your whole season is going to be bad just because you started off not great. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Then Seraphine gets nice ult there, but I go a bit too aggro. I should have kind of just backed off after that, rather than continuing to auto. I got a little bit greedy, but you can see how it's kind of the same thing where I'm trying to use my, you know, aggression, or time my aggression with the enemy's spell cooldowns. So because they kind of wasted everything, I tried trading back pretty aggressively. There I got too aggressive, but that's generally the mindset I'm in. And then they're getting shredded by Rumble ult, and then I'm here now, and I can pretty much just one-shot their tanks. I end up cleansing or QSSing the Twisted Fate gold card, which was really good timing. And again, I do want to go back on this, because this is really what I was kind of paying attention to the whole time, and that's why I have a QSS and a cleanse, because of all the CC they have. They have Senna Root, they have Twisted Fate stun, they have Volibear stun, Wukong as well. And so I kind of want you to just notice, like, I know when I'm going in here, which again we'll, you know, see in a second, I know what I need to look out for. And so at this point, obviously I've killed the Volibear, and so at this point now it's like Wukong's already ulted, Senna Root is not instant, so I can react to that later. So the only thing that's really worrying for me is Twisted Fate gold card, and so I'm very much paying attention to that. I see that he pulled his gold card. I QSS literally the second that I expect it to come, predicting it. That way, when I go on the Wukong, I know that I can kill Wukong right away, and that's really what lets me get out and win that fight. So again, these kind of spell timings and tracking certain key cooldowns of the enemy, especially on an ADC champion, like, even though I'm, you know, mid lane, if I'm playing an ADC, or anytime that you're playing just, you know, regular ADC, like any champion really, keeping track of those types of spells just makes it so easy to get as much burst damage off, really test your limits, that type of thing. And then here, I'm just pushing the wave and then getting Baron after. Corki absolutely shreds Baron, so anytime that, you know, you can quickly burst down the Baron, as long as the enemy jungle's dead or not nearby or whatever, you can melt Barons, especially when you have two sustained damage ADCs, so like Corki Tristana, Corki Kai'Sa, these types of champions. Again, like I mentioned in a previous video, I had like a Corki Tristana, a Mumu, Lulu team comp, and we like one-shot the Baron, and you can do that with a lot of comps. Like I did it with the Caitlyn comp as well, with me and the Caitlyn when she was really fed with Emilio, and we just completely could shred Baron. So understanding that type of stuff again. And then here I'm taking the long way around because I know Volibear is there. I'm trying to make sure I'm not in a position to be ran down. I'm not trying to be too over aggressive. But then if my team goes in, obviously, because of how fed I am, I will try to, again, go in a safe direction, but then eventually put myself in a position to get a lot of burst damage onto their tanks, which you can see here. We melt through pretty much everyone here. Pretty straightforward, right? At this point, you can see the burst damage of my champion is actually insane. We end up QSSing the Senna route. I think I maybe could have cleansed it and then had QSS, because QSS is, I don't know, QSS and cleanse are kind of like similarly strong. The difference is like QSS is 0.75 seconds instead of 0.25 seconds. Like you can do it preemptively, but the cleanse can cleanse while you're actually being CC'd, and it can do like knockups and whatever. So I mean, they're kind of both like good, but there's like small differences. I don't really know which one I'd prefer to like use first if I like have the choice. Kind of close, but I mean, cleanse I think is a longer cooldown as well, so I guess that maybe makes cleanse a bit more useful. But yeah, overall, then we're on 4 items here. At this point, we've kind of done everything we need to end the game. It's going to be pretty straightforward. We just, we find a team fight, and then eventually we look to end the game. We killed the Twist of Fate there. Again, just skipping through because this is pretty straightforward. And then I know I have my W and I have my cleanse if anyone goes on me, so we're pretty much just waiting around. And once my team finds some type of engage, we just go forward, following up. Not wasting my second ability right away because I know they might jump on me, and then once he uses his jump, I second ability to follow. You can even see like that understanding of which abilities am I going to use when has allowed me to kind of parry a lot of these fights. Insane burst damage onto the enemy here. I almost got a greedy, but end up being fine. I think we still end the game here, if I'm not mistaken, but not 100% sure. No, maybe we throw. I don't remember now. Yeah, I guess we just back off and get Baron now because we realize we can't actually end. So then the enemy try contesting us. Even though my jungler's dead, I know that we can basically bait them in here and just win the fight, which is why I'm ending up doing the Baron. And you can see that I just basically use it as a bait to turn on to Twisted Fate. And then we get the Wukong right after, and their jungler still won't be here for about 5 or 10 seconds, I know, because he just respawns, so I know I can burst it down and get the objective. Frankly, that's a more risky play by me to like flip the objective like that. But I was kind of just using it as a bait the whole time. Honestly, though, I would say that's pretty risky, and probably wasn't necessary. I would do it again because I have confidence in myself to execute well on that type of thing. However, I do think it's a bit risky, and for a lot of people, I would say you might want to just play it a bit safer there because that can be a way you throw games. So keep that in mind as well. But we end the game here. They try to FF, but we kill the Nexus before they're able to. I just wanted to show you guys, us getting Master, kind of keep you guys up with the progress. I know I said I would upload a lot of losses or a lot more losses this season, but frankly, we've been on such a large win streak that I only really had a lot of wins to go over in the recent couple of games, but I'll definitely be uploading some losses and things to learn from, especially when we start, having some loss streaks, because loss streaks are inevitable with every climb. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.